A father is charged in connection with the fatal shooting of his 4-year-old son. Construction on a new downtown resort gets underway. And the Attorney General denies claims of conflict of interest in connection with the Baha Mar Resort. We've got all these stories and more. I'm your host, Ava Turnquist, and this is the Tribune's Top 5. Accused father, Wenzel Demerit, was charged with manslaughter after his son accidentally shot himself while playing with another boy at his home. According to police, the boy, Denzel Joshua Joshi Demerit, and another young boy were playing with a handgun at his home on Balls Alley when the gun went off and Denzel was accidentally shot. The incident happened shortly after 3 p.m. on August 1st. The young boy was taken to hospital but died a short time later. Joshi was going to celebrate his birthday on Monday, according to his mother, 2 days after he was shot. His 26-year-old father was arraigned in magistrate's court on a manslaughter by negligence charge. Justice Andrew Forbes told Demerit that he was not required to enter a plea to the charge, as he will have his matter referred to the Supreme Court through a voluntary bill of indictment. Demerit also faces 2 other charges, 1 count of possession of an unlicensed firearm and 1 count of illegal possession of ammunition. He pleaded not guilty to those charges, but was denied bail. His case was adjourned to August 10th, and he's been remanded until that time to the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Works, Philip Brave Davis, confirmed this week that the Christie administration will continue to pay Bahamian employees at Baha Mar until the $21 million owed to the mega resort by the government for roadworks is exhausted. Mr. Davis said it was a misconception that the government had paid the resort's more than 2,000 Bahamian workers from the public treasury, adding that the funds were deducted from the sum meant to cover the government's portion of costs for roadworks associated with the development of the resort. The monthly payroll was estimated at $7.5 million, and at that time it was unclear whether the government would also pay expatriate workers. The resort's Bahamian workers are paid bi-weekly, and according to officials, Bahamian workers have been paid for 3 pay periods so far. Baha Mar's expat workers are paid monthly and had received their last payment shortly before the resort filed for bankruptcy on June 29th. The expatriate staff at Baha Mar's Grand Hyatt Hotel are reportedly set to be pulled out of the country after the government has decided that it won't pay the non-Bahamian workers last week. The decision was met with severe criticism from the resort and the official opposition for its possible impact on the project's ability to open quickly and the trickle-down effect it could have on the real estate market, among other areas. The salary bill for expatriate workers was estimated at $1.8 million a month. China Construction America, the general contractor for Baha Mar, this week broke ground on its own luxury high-end development, The Point. While there is no end in sight to its dispute with mega resort Baha Mar over completion of the Cable Beach project, Prime Minister Perry Christie insisted that the $250 million Bay Street luxury development will not overshadow Baha Mar, nor was there a conflict or cause for concern. Mr. Christie said construction of The Point was not intended to start before Baha Mar was completed. However, the resort's extensive delays had now forced both developments to overlap. He said the start of construction on The Point would not impact the stalled Cable Beach resort. Baha Mar has been locked in a bitter dispute with CCA over the project, with both parties blaming each other for the project's missed deadlines and cost overruns. Up to yesterday, there was no indication that the pair had brokered an agreement with the resort's lender, China Import-Export Bank, over the terms of funding to finish the project, a project that was said to be more than 90% complete. At the groundbreaking, CCA Chairman Ning Yun told those attending that the proposed world-class lifestyle and residential development was a substantial milestone for the company that was different from its other project in the Bahamas. He said the purchase of the British Colonial Hilton and the adjacent harborfront property represented CCA's first hotel and development acquisition in the Caribbean. Scheduled for a 2017 launch, the Bay Street project is expected to provide 250 construction jobs for Bahamian workers and some 500 permanent jobs within the 200-room entertainment hotel, its oceanfront residences, and 80-slip marina. The development also boasts a 1,000-car garage, a bowling alley, and a movie theater. A highly touted element of the project is its proposed boardwalk that will connect the resort to the Woods Rogers Wharf. This week, 2 cabinet ministers lashed out at Baha Mar developer Sarkis Ismailian as the war of words over the stalled project continues. Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell warned the developer that his permanent residency status could be revoked. He also suggested that Mr. Ismailian consider living elsewhere if he cannot conform to the expected conduct of economic guests. Mr. Mitchell has repeatedly chastised Mr. Emerlian over the bankruptcy filing and what he termed as numerous attacks on Prime Minister Perry Christie's handling of the matter. After Mr. Mitchell received a severe backlash for his comments, Labour Minister Shane Gibson rose to his defence during a parliamentary session and further suggested that the government should now begin performing psychological evaluations on all foreign developers seeking to do business in this country. Their harsh statements come as Mr. Emerlian lamented to staff that after 13 years of working on the Bahama project, he never imagined he would be fighting with the government over the $3.5 billion Cable Beach property. However, Mr. Christie said the warnings issued to Mr. Emerlian by two of his cabinet ministers are not the position of the government, adding that there was no fight with the developer. Mr. Christie said that while the recent comments by Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Gibson about the developer were not sanctioned by him, he had accepted their remarks. He also said that he was not forewarned that the ministers were going to say what they did. Regarding Mr. Emerlian's assertion that there was a fight with the government over the project, Mr. Christie suggested that the Bahamar CEO did not know the true meaning of his words. After revealing that two of her daughters have interests in Bahamar, Attorney General Alison Maynard Gibson has denied claims of conflict of interest concerning her role as the government's negotiator on the stalled Cable Beach resort. Mrs. Maynard Gibson revealed that her daughters own stores that have leases with Bahamar as a guest on the Mo 94 talk show Real Talk Live. She said that Prime Minister Perry Christie is aware of the connection. However, Free National Movement leader Dr. Hubert Minnis was adamant that the situation was an overt conflict of interest. Dr. Minnis questioned if others in the Progressive Labour Party had links to businesses connected to Bahamar, adding, "How high does it go?" The revelation followed statements by Fort Charlotte MP Dr. Andre Rollins, who earlier in the week said that it would be an indictment on the Christie administration if a sitting member of cabinet had ownership interest in Bahamar. Dr. Rollins' comments were among a variety of reports that suggested that some parliamentarians have interests related to Bahamar that have not been declared. Mrs. Maynard Gibson has often been the government's chief liaison with Bahamar, the Export-Import Bank of China, and the China State Construction Company, as those parties attempt to work through their differences and push the project forward. Responding to the claims, the Attorney General brushed off those worries, saying that she would never do anything to compromise the confidence Mr. Christie and the Bahamian people have placed in her. For her part, Mrs. Maynard Gibson said her daughters, like many other Bahamians who have invested in the project, were suffering due to Bahamar's woes. Want to get in on the discussion? Well, here's how you can. Like us on Facebook, the Tribune News Network. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune242. Send us a tweet at Tribune242 or log on to our website, Tribune242.com.